By the way, for those of you wondering, I will not be speaking at this time on the conditions in which Woody and Buzz have been justly held during this time. The statute of limitations has run out. Let's talk about Vandy and Texas. I have thought about this game a lot this week because Vegas is trying to tell me something. They like Texas's roster more than Vanderbilt's. Arch Manning is questionable going into this game. I think either way, I feel the same about Texas. And I think Vanderbilt has the better quarterback in this game. The question I have for Vanderbilt, can you do it on the road, particularly with the run defense? I think Texas, again, regardless of who is behind center for Steve Sarkisian, is going to try and jumpstart the running game. They have been incredibly dormant. 3 of the last 4 weeks, under 100 yards on the ground. Even if Arch Manning is playing improved football, which he did last week at Mississippi State, his best overall game as a college quarterback by far, this is not a Texas offense that is meant to be one-dimensional. It is at its best. It can be one-dimensional. I think they have that option, but they are at their best when Steve Sarkisian can dial up plays off of play action and get creative in the run game as well. So I think the team that wins the rushing battle in this game is going to wind up winning. And I'm taking Vanderbilt. I have said all week, Vanderbilt is more than just Diego Pavia. They are more than just a fun story. They are a good, balanced, physical, fundamentally sound football team who I think can beat you in a number of different ways. The offense can get themselves going. They can run it. Diego Pavia won't go for 350 and 3 touchdowns against this Texas defense. But if this winds up being a low-scoring slugfest, understand that Vanderbilt just played one of those games against a good Missouri team. Yes, they have to do it on the road. Texas playing well on one side of the ball last week against Mississippi State, but not the other side of the ball, doesn't instill as much confidence in me as it should. They very much should have lost the game. They didn't, which is why if Texas wins this game, they will re-enter my top 25. But I like Vanderbilt to go to Austin and win the football game because I trust them a lot more, and I think they are a more complete, consistent football team. So give me Vanderbilt in a close one, 23-17, Commodores over the Longhorns. Potentially an upset special here in the Big 12. Texas Tech, because of the loss to Arizona State, whether Baron Morton played or not, he's supposed to play this week. For Texas Tech's sake, for my Red Raiders, I hope that he does. I really hope he does. They go to Manhattan against a Kansas State team that probably went off most of your guys' radars after the season began the way it did because it was a complete and abject mess and a failure. You had the 4th down fiascos in Ireland against Iowa State. They're the second straight team, really third, to fall victim to the Ireland curse. And so Kansas State then wound up losing to Army, who lost to Tarleton State at the FCS level. You got a transitive loss to an FCS team. Now, Tarleton, very good FCS program. I've seen them live. But let me tell you, it's not a team that Kansas State should ever have a transitive loss to, and yet they do. And Kansas State has just struggled. But all of a sudden, last week, they went on the road to Lawrence. And they didn't just beat Kansas, they beat them soundly. In a rivalry game, no less. A rivalry game. I picked Kansas to win that one, and Kansas State said, Spencer, you're ridiculous. We are going to go and just absolutely blow the doors off. They did. They did. Kansas State was better. They're starting to look like the team. It's too late for the season. They can play spoiler now, but that's all they can do. They're looking like the team we all thought, meaning myself and several others, many others, I'm sure plenty of Kansas State fans as well, that we thought we were going to get when the season began. That's what they look like right now. So Texas Tech, favored by 7.5 points. This is not one of my best bets of the week, but if I were to take a side, I would lean Kansas State in the points. I think there's real upset potential, even if Baron Morton plays. Coming back off the injury, you never know how close to 100% those guys are. Hopefully, for his sake and the Red Raiders' sake, he is. I think Texas Tech has more than enough talent to go win this football game. I think they will make life really difficult for Avery Johnson, particularly in key moments. Watch for the money downs in this spot. Avery Johnson's going to have to make some throws, and I like Texas Tech's defense, the pass rush to get home against that K-State offensive line. So give me Texas Tech 28 and Kansas State 24. I think that it's close, but Texas Tech ultimately gets it done. Couple of games to watch in the ACC. These feel like upset alert specials. Again, neither one a best bet. But why is Georgia Tech only favored by 5.5 at NC State? I was on the golf course earlier this week, which is standard operating procedure for me. And someone who hadn't seen my show before, which is a good gentle reminder that there are still more college football fans I need to reach. He's a Michigan fan. And he's asking me, well, what upsets do you think are going to show up? Where do you think they are? I said, well, I tell you one that stands out. This is where my mind went first before the next ACC game I'm going to talk about, or another one that I will have in my best bets. Georgia Tech going to NC State. This is just Vegas is making me turn my head and go, what? Why? Georgia Tech just went. They just won big last week. They're undefeated. They are a darn good football team. What are we talking about here? Why is this not? I wasn't just wondering why the number is under a touchdown. I'm wondering why it's under 10 points. Dave Dorn might be out at the end of the year. Is there a house money element for NC State? I'm taking Georgia Tech to win the game without question. I'm not picking against the Yellow Jackets in this spot, but that is one that I have flagged as, boy, something's weird. That is just a strange line. Maybe this is the upset spot that Georgia Tech falls victim to. Everybody has it happen once. For Alabama, it was week 1 against Florida State, who's still looking for their first ACC win in like 2 years. So I'd keep an eye out for that particular game. Miami at SMU. SMU, kind of what I expected them to be this year. They're a pullback team, but they're not a bad team. And this line looks more, according to our friends at FanDuel, like what I expect the Georgia Tech NC State line to look like. I frankly think these are inverted. Last I checked, FanDuel had this at SMU plus 11.5. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets down under 10 at some point in time. That's a lot of points. Now, Miami up front, I think, has a big edge in this game. You know, the last time I said on this show, yeah, I feel fine about Miami. They've got a big edge up front. They'll be totally good. Yeah, they lost to Louisville at home. They're on the road now. SMU is not quite in the house money territory, but they are coming off a loss against Wake Forest at the buzzer on a long field goal. What a win for Jake Dickert and the Demon Deacons, by the way, because you're looking for those flag planting moments, maybe metaphorically. It's a better way to think about that. That was it for Wake Forest. If you didn't have the belief there that Jake Dickert was going to have some success, you better now. Most of you probably didn't know that game happened, but yeah, Wake Forest beat SMU. Wake Forest defense held SMU's offense under 15 points in the game. That's pretty wild. So SMU's at home. SMU has a chance to pull a big upset here. Rhett Lashley, look, I don't know how serious his name gets tossed around in these coaching searches, but I definitely think he's someone that could be a target for one of these schools. Maybe he's looking for another one of those signature wins to remind people, hey, what I'm doing over here? Yeah, working out. Rhett Lashley feels like an Arkansas hire to me, but hey, what do I know? I'll take Miami to win again. I think that's by a touchdown or so. The double digits, the on-the-road factor. Miami's about to get into not necessarily a gauntlet of teams played, but a gauntlet of 7 straight conference games. That's tough. To have no breaking that up, but their schedule is weird. So, yeah, I'll take SMU to cover in that one. Not a best bet, but I'll take Miami to win 31-24. I think the Hurricanes get that one done. I think you never know which Miami's going to show up. We just have to wait and find out.